Hey everyone, my name is Sok. I'm a Masters player and I'm here with my girlfriend Shu.
Hello.
She is currently a silver player, and the goal of these videos is for us to review different plays by her as well as by me to see what could have been done better, and so that she can learn as much as she can about TFT and playing more consistently well. However, let's get started, but this video kind of throws everything that I've taught her so far out of the window, and I'm going to teach her how to play like an absolute psychopath. So let's see how this episode goes. We start here with a Heimerdinger start, which means we know that the first augment is going to be a prismatic augment. Prismatic augments are generally the most powerful augments, so it's very important you pick a good one because all of your future augments are probably either gold or silver, which means your first augment is actually most important here. So we start with a Vex, which is very standard, and get 2-1 cost. So just as a informational piece, generally how the creep round works is you get on average 6 gold and 3 component. That 6 gold can drop all on the first round or as 2-2-2. So 2 gold the first round, 2 gold the second round, and 2 gold the third round. It can drop as gold or a champion equivalent. So you can get 2 Trundos, or you can get 2 gold, or you can get 6 gold on the first round. So you can see here we got 2 units, which I then sold to make more pairs. So this is a really good start for scrap because I have a 2-star I have a 2-star powder as well as a Trundo and a Steb who gives me Bruiser. Next, if I can get something like a Maddie or maybe even a Camille, I could get Ambusher and Enforcer in there, which would be really, really nice. So I get a Camille, which I actually forgot, but that's really good. It allows me to have a 4-trait board with 4 units, which is very strong. So here I look at the augments that are offered to me. Again, like I said before, this is the prismatic augment, which means this is a very strong augment that I need to choose carefully. So I guess Shu, what do you think of the augments that are offered here and how good they are and which one you would choose?
Yeah, so starting off with subscription service, I think I'm intrigued by it, and it could probably help give me some direction in the game of where I want to go, because right now there was a scrap bruiser build, but who knows if that's where I want to continue. If maybe some of the 4-cost ones they give are Corki and Elise, then I think that would solidify it even more, and you have some high-cost versions of your traits already, which is really nice. I'd be interested in Wandering Trainer as well. I would have probably re-rolled the second one just because the gaining interest is a helpful aspect in the gold. I think at this moment, I would have probably re-rolled the second two and seen what they were going to be.
You mean the second and the third one, right?
Yeah, so the second and third, the latter two.
Okay. I think that makes sense, but let's take a moment to see what I do and I'll explain. Well, actually, I'll explain my thought right now, okay? Mm-hmm. So, first of all, I already have a very strong level one, like early game comp, right? I have a 2-star powder, I have a Steb, I have Trundle, and I have Camille. That makes 4 different traits with 4 units, which is really, really good, okay? If I get subscription service and I get offered something that is not a scrap, maybe I get offered like a Silco, right, which is completely misaligned with my units right now, I might have to change up my entire board, okay? And I don't want to do that because I have a strong board right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same thing with Wandering Trainer. Depending on what it gives me, I probably need to change up my board, and my early board is actually quite strong. So I want to maintain how strong my early board is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why instead of rolling the 2 that you said, I actually rolled the first one and the third one here. I get Pandora's item and I get Quick Striker. Pandora's item is not very good here because I actually have very good items, right? I have a Sunfire Cape and then I have a rod that I can scrap for my powder, my 2-star powder. So a rod is really, really good there. Okay, and then Quick Striker obviously does not matter because I don't even have any Quick Strikers. So we went going long, and how going long works is that you no longer receive any interest. So normally you want to build yourself up to 50 gold, and that way you get 5 interest per round. What it does now is it gives you 4 experience per round rather than interest. That sounds bad because it sounds like you're losing out on 5 gold a round from the interest, but that's not actually true if you think about it, because it gives you 4 experience, and 4 experience is equivalent to 4 gold. So essentially what it says is like, hey, don't worry about interest, it's on me, and I know you're going to invest your interest towards your level, so I'm just going to do that for free, okay? You can say, yeah, you're still losing 1 gold, but the thing with something like going long is you level up so quickly, you make up for the fact that you're losing 1 gold by winning, okay? Because you will be level 6 while everyone else is level 4. And you're going to win. And when you win, you get an extra gold. So you get 4 gold that's put into experience from going long, and then you get 1 extra gold by winning. So it's the same as having 50 gold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think, again, with where I was thinking about the first augment, how many forecasts are there again? 10?
I can check. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can probably
So,
check that.
Just the fact that I think there are multiple traits that I could do, like whether it's the ones that are already activated or the ones that have yet to be activated. I believe there are, if I'm getting 4 unique ones, I think there's a good chance I would get something that
12.
aligns. There are 12, okay.
Yeah, there's 12.
Okay, so you get a third of them pop up, and I think it would be, there is a possibility that they'll either align with traits that are already active that you have, or ones that could become active if you get them. For instance, if I get a Vi, that'll add Enforcer in there.
So you say a third of them pop up, but not necessarily, because duplicates can pop up as well.
They said it was 4 unique.
Oh,
Four
did it?
costs?
Actually, I didn't notice that.
Yes, it had said 4 unique 4-cost
Okay.
champions, so
Yeah.
hence, yeah, a third of them will appear.
Personally, I actually do not like subscription service, especially at higher levels. If you're at lower levels, subscription service is like it's a streaking tool. It allows you to win consistently because you have 4 cost while everyone else has lower level units.
Yeah.
But when you're playing a little higher elo, everyone has very strong boards and you don't win streak, right? So normally subscription service, you want to win streak. But as you'll see coming up, I beat people with subscription service. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe it's because I am still in silver that
Yeah.
I see that as something that would be very beneficial. But I guess, yeah, once you're up in Masters, it might be a bit harder.
Yeah, so here I'm thinking about what is something that can make me win consistently, and going long is the best option here, okay? So we can keep on going.
At this point, yeah, putting her in, and then I think you're gonna do what I figured. Yeah, I would have probably put it on Trundle as well. And then, yeah, Rod on Powder is pretty good.
Yeah. So I make, let's see, this seems like a small mistake. The best option would probably be the Trundle, I would think. Yeah, because Trundle would benefit from Bruiser, and he would also get a shield from Scrap. It's not a very big shield, but it is a shield.
Yeah.
Steb would also get a shield from Enforcer. So I think as long as I put one of them in, that's better than the Darius, because the Darius does not receive these bonuses.
Yeah. Yeah, notice how the one you're playing against is level 3 and you're already 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Next to them.
Yeah, so when you're 2 levels above people, it's hard to lose. Even if they have 4 cost, you have 2 more units,
Yeah.
it's hard to lose. So here I'm just planning out my team. Right now I have a pretty scrap-centric team. So I'm just looking at what it would look like as I progress. So here I'm probably thinking about picking up that Nunu. The Nunu doesn't immediately give me anything, but it gets me a step closer to 4 bruisers maybe.
Yep.
And also Nunu, he has decent damage reduction, and it allows me to be a little stronger. Right now I'm just trying to be as strong as I can, because like I said, with going long, you're counting on that extra gold from winning to really make up for the one that you're losing from not having 50 gold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I see you're planning potentially Tristan on there to boost up Corki.
Yeah. But these are eventual goals. And the thing that you'll probably see as the game goes on is I change my teams quite a bit depending on what I get. I don't quite remember what I win as my final comp, but the idea is to be flexible, okay? Especially when you're playing scrap. The biggest benefit about playing scrap is you don't have to complete any items. You should still complete some, but you don't have to complete all of your items, right?
Yeah.
And that allows you to be flexible, which means you can go one route or another. So here I decided to put in a random Kog'Maw. He has 0 synergy with any of my units whatsoever, but I'm having him as a insurance policy. Kog'Maw, no matter what, will start attacking faster and faster and eventually reach a state where he's just a minigun, basically. Okay? So by having him in the back, it gives me insurance as a last resort in case everything else dies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I see the one you're up against has subscription service.
Yeah, exactly. So, in fact, if you, I guess I don't do a good job of staying on my board because I'm scouting.
Yeah. But yeah, I see they have subscription service and you beat them, yeah, so it goes to what you said.
Yeah, in fact, they actually had 3 forecasts. They had Mbessa, they had a Corki, and they had a Laoi, which are actually very good forecasts.
Yeah, they are good, and they're all ones you're considering. Not the Mbessa, but Alawi and Corki are ones you want to get.
Yeah, they are. And that's the benefit of subscription service. You get the champions that you want early, you know?
Nice. Which one are you thinking of getting at this point? It's
Um,
mostly defense stuff at this point. Oh, you get the arrow?
I need to look at my board. I don't remember the specific reason why I decided to get Arrow. I guess Arrow is just very good for Corki if I do go into Corki.
That is true. A lot of his best items have arrow.
Yeah. And I just put it on Kog'Maw right now, again, because he reaches a point where he's just very, very strong and he attacks very quickly. It takes a little bit of time for him to get there when he doesn't have items, but I also have multiple bruisers, as well as my powder, which can tank a little bit. So the goal is potentially he might reach that singularity point where he just starts pew-pewing on everyone.
Yeah.
So regardless, I am still up in level, right? So you see this person's level 5 and I'm level 6. I think the quality of his board is actually better than mine. He had multiple 2 costs, whereas I only really just have powder. But it doesn't matter, right? I have more units, and that just overwhelms him at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, this completely breaks everything I've taught you. I told you to save your gold, try to make interest, try to get money from interest. All of that goes down the window. All I'm trying to do now is make is to be at like 0 gold and level up as quickly as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I see you went up to 4 Enforcer for the time being.
Yeah. So 4 Enforcer is actually quite a good early tempo trade.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is what I was talking about was being flexible. Originally, I wasn't thinking Enforcers at all, but now that I have some, let's just stick with it, you know? So again, this guy is level 4, and I'm at level 6 at this point. So going long allows you to be 2 levels ahead of your opponents. And that also has the benefit of forecast, right?
Yeah.
So you start seeing forecast at level 6, and you start seeing them, I would say, almost consistently at level 7. So for example, if you look, I already have one forecast. I have a Heimerdinger even now, and I
There's
just found a Corky.
right there.
Yeah, which is extremely lucky, I will admit. But
Yeah.
I'm able to find him because I am level 6 right now, you know?
Oh, interesting. I feel like I would have put the Ezreal in to help as artillerist at that moment.
Yeah. The thing here is that I probably would have done that if I didn't see a 2-star Twisted Fate here. So having a 2-star Twisted Fate, that's quite strong, right? And I also have 4 Enforcer, which is also quite strong. So right now I'm thinking about, do I want to go Scrap or do I want to go Enforcers at this point?
Yeah.
So if you notice, I always try to clear 2 bench spaces because orbs can be units. And when they are units and all of your spots are filled, they just turn into gold, okay?
Makes sense.
And that's not ideal. You want them to stay as units because those units might fit well on your board. So for example, I just got a Tristana. I think I got that Tristana from one of the drops. And if
Yeah.
my board was filled, I would not have been able to get it. So here I decided I want to go for Scrap.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I have 2 Scrap items. I have a bow on Corky and I have a rod on Powder. And my thought is that 4 Scraps is better because completed items at this stage of the game are very, very strong. So as you can see, I'm currently streaking. I'm winning every single fight, and that's giving me the extra gold that I lost due to not being able to earn interest. And again, if you look at my level, I go from 6, or I guess let's select items. Select augments. So let's look at what you would have done here, okay?
Okay, well, one tip you had given me for the time being was if it's a D rank augment, just ignore for the time being. So this in particular says each round gain 1 gold for every 3 non-unique traits active. Every 3.
So right now I have 4 traits active. So it will give me 1 gold.
Yeah, I guess by non-unique, they just mean ones that more than one character have.
Yes, that's correct. So there's
Okay.
some unique traits. So for example, Victor is a machine herald, right?
Yes.
It's only Victor that's a machine
Oh,
herald.
I see.
Yeah.
So traits that multiple characters share.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have things like a Scrap King with Rumble.
I think it's Junker King, I think
or-
is what it's called, yeah.
That's right. You're right. It's Junker King. So only he has Junker King. So you
Yeah.
can't mess with the system by taking this trade and just putting in all the unique trade and getting a bunch of gold. Okay?
Yeah, so I mean, I think this would be beneficial for people who are. I've seen games where people have maybe 8 to 10
Yeah.
traits active.
Mm-hmm.
I think this would be nice for them.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, in your case, especially because you're trying to minimize your gold to not get the interest, probably also wouldn't be great for you.
Yes.
If I were also playing this, that wouldn't be the case. Same thing, if I were going this route, yeah.
Sorry, I just want to add one additional thing.
Sure.
So diversified portfolio actually becomes very strong after you have 6 traits, okay?
Okay.
There is a gold augment called Raining Gold that gives
Yeah.
you 1 gold per round, okay? So that means this silver augment would be more beneficial than a gold augment, assuming you have 6 or more trade, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, please continue. You're looking at item collector?
Yeah, so actually I was scanning over to the third one. If I were playing this route, and at this point, like, I would have already hypothetically decided this route of not having any interest. So clearly having the extra gold, I mean, the extra gold you could also use to level up or reroll a bit. And I mean, attack speed could be nice considering I think that benefits Corky a bit.
Well, I think it's called placebo because it's only 1% attack speed. So, yes, it technically benefits everyone, but by how much, right? By 1% only.
Yeah. And then for your game team's 10 health, for each unique item they're holding, your team gains back 2 bonus health, 1 attack damage, 1 ability power. I think that would probably be the most intriguing one right now, and yeah, probably that, because at this point I believe you have 4 items, especially considering that the components on Corky and Powder turn into items during the match.
Yeah, item collector is good when you make a lot of items, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If I plan on playing scrap, I'm probably planning on making as many items as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a good choice here, but let's see what I do. I do think it is the best choice, and that's why I re-roll the first and the third one. So here we have mentorship and recombobulator. What are your thoughts on these?
So, mentorship can be challenging because you need to make sure that some ally starts next to a higher cost one, and depending on the board you have, sometimes you have to arrange them in a funny way so that as many as possible are benefiting from it. Then recombobulator.
Let's stop at mentorship. When is mentorship good? Mentorship is specifically good if you're doing a reroll comp, okay? Mm-hmm. So, which means if you get a 2-cost reroll or if you get a 1-cost reroll, for example, with a family reroll, you can put the Violet right next to the Vander and the Violet would get a bonus.
Yeah.
If your carry is a 4-cost or a 5-cost, mentorship is not very good because you can't put them next to anyone to benefit them.
That's a good point.
So generally, you want to pick mentorship if you have a reroll comp where a lower cost can stand next to a higher cost. Does that make sense? In that case, it is very good, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then the third one, champions on the board permanently transform into random champions, 1 cost tier higher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you want to play chaotically, that could be a way to go, just to see how that goes. I think for me, I would have probably picked item collector.
So yes, but remember the point of going long. Going long is all about being as strong as possible. And you know what's stronger than 4 costs, which I have some of?
5 costs.
5 costs, exactly. So if I pick recombobulator, it will give me multiple 5 costs because right now I actually have 2 4 costs on the board. Mm-hmm. I also have a 2-star, what's it called? Twisted Fate, which is a 3 cost, which will now turn into a 2-star 4 cost, which is very strong. So let's see what I do here. So one thing that's interesting about recombobulator is it changes whatever your board into 1 cost higher. So during this time, you can actually minimize the screen, put a character in that is a higher cost so that your board is the highest cost possible. I did mess up here. I should have replaced the Trundle as well as the Steb with the Tristana and the Ziggs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because that would give me 2 more 3 costs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I did not do that, and I just hit recombobulator. That was a slight misplay. But now it gives me a completely different board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you immediately get a Malzahar and a Caitlyn.
Yeah. So my goal here is just to make something that works. I decide to put in the Maddie for the sniper as well as for the enforcer. I decide to put in a few people, right? So now I have a decent synergy. I have Automaton, I have Dominator, Enforcer, Sniper, and Visionary. So if we look at this board, it's actually pretty well balanced. We have a good front line with Blitzcrank and Vladimir, and then we just have a bunch of people in the back line. The only thing that is a little awkward is I don't really have a clear direction because my back line is a little mixed, right? I have Caitlyn, which is a very good attacker with attack damage. She also has really good items, actually. Infinity Edge and a bow. Those are really good items for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
But my 2-cost 4-star is a Heimerdinger. And my 5-cost that goes well with it is the Malzahar. Which means, in terms of unit quality, AP is better. In terms of item quality, AD is better, right? So it puts me in a tough spot deciding which route I want to go.
Yeah.
So here I'm thinking about what I should put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are coming and like question marking my board.
Yeah, people are like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Well, probably because they were seeing your board earlier and are seeing it's entirely different now.
Yeah, that's true. But also having multiple 5-cost at 3-2 is not something that you see every day.
Yeah, I mean, on a regular day, getting 5 costs is, there's only 1% chance of finding them.
At level 7, yes.
Like where you are right now.
Well, actually at 3-2, you're trying to level up to level 6. So I'm over a level ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, maybe they didn't see the level you were at.
Yeah. So another thing is Recombobulator works very well with going long. Because going long, you're generally far enough ahead that you have multiple 4-cost, as I did. And then you can convert those 4-cost into 5-cost. So here I'm playing a comp that was very popular when this set first initially launched. It's Black Rose Heimerdinger. Nowadays, it's considered one of the weaker comps, but because I have so many pieces that fit extremely well, I decide that I'm going to go this comp again. And the benefit of this comp is you get Visionary through a Morgana, and then you build out 3 other Visionaries in Heimerdinger, and Malzahar, and Nunu. And with that, they cast a lot of times, making them very, very strong. So here, I'm just looking at Maddie versus Vi. Maddie will give me Sniper, but the thing is, Vi is overall a much, much better unit. And Vi can do a lot more stuns. She can like stun people in a row, kind of. And what I care about with Visionary, especially with Heimerdinger, is just for the fight to go on as long as possible. Because every single time he casts, he shoots out 1 more rocket.
Yeah.
So having Maddie in the back end, that would make my front line less tanky. So that's why I'm deciding to go with Vi instead of Maddie.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So here again, I'm just trying to decide which route I want to go. I think I've decided at this point that I am going to go AP. And now the question is, do I keep my Caitlyn right now? Because Caitlyn is a good champion and does a lot of damage currently. In fact, I think she's my biggest damage dealer. So here I see a Elise. And by having Elise, I can now get 3 Black Roses. And I decide at this point that I'm going to stick with Black Rose.
Yeah.
Which also means that I'm going to need to sell my Caitlyn. Which is hard to do because I have an Infinity Edge. So I decided to put the Infinity Edge on Malzahar. What are your thoughts on that?
So Malzahar, if I'm not mistaken, is a magic dealer.
Yes, that's correct.
So Infinity Edge probably isn't the best item on him, but I think the fact that you have the Infinity Edge item, it should go on someone.
Yeah. The one thing that's about this team is that it is an exclusively ability powered team. Okay? And if you think about Infinity Edge is good in a few ways. First, it gives you some attack damage, which is very beneficial for attack damage carries like Caitlyn. But second, and probably more importantly, is that it allows your spells to crit. And when I say crit, it means like it does more damage. Okay? That affects Caitlyn as much as it affects Malzahar. Okay, so that part is still intact, which is good, right?
Oh, nice. You have 2 tiers, so you can make a blue buff.
Yes, that is very nice. So that's one thing. And I get a Malzahar too, which is very, very lucky as well. So I get a Nashor's. for Malzahar. Yeah, and I'm debating
Debating.
who to put it on.
That's funny.
Yeah. And I also get the rod.
So you get Jewel Gauntlet. So I guess that also goes on Heimer.
Yeah. Well, it should go on Malzahar, but I did it a little too late and I was not able to get it on him in time. So here I make a mistake. First of all, I see that I'm going to win. I think Jewel Gauntlet is better on Malzahar because he's a 2-star 5 cost.
Yeah.
So I decide not to put it on anyone. I'm just going to wait until this round ends, and then I'll put it on Malzahar afterwards. So I do indeed win. I did make a mistake here, but we can look at the mistake in 1 sec after we pick augments.
Okay. Let's see. Next 4-cost champion you buy is instantly upgraded to 2-star.
Mm-hmm.
And get 12 gold. You get Visionary Emblem and Renata. After the anomaly, gain an item that duplicates the chosen anomaly effect. I mean, the middle one is pretty good. I think the time being, the 4-cost champion you have that hasn't been leveled up to 2-star yet is Elise, I think. Pretty sure she's the only one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be nice to have a 2-star Elise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if your idea at this point was to go full Visionary.
So I think Visionary would have been good. It fits with my board. It's probably a good one to go. Mm-hmm. Another anomaly is probably not good, and here's why. Having another anomaly is good when you get a good anomaly. Does that make sense? It duplicates it.
Yeah.
How you get a good anomaly is either by being super lucky or re-rolling, okay?
Uh-huh.
If you have a lot of gold to re-roll the anomaly until you get a quote-unquote good anomaly, then this is a good trade.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, I am completely broke. I spend all my money on leveling. I have no money at all. Mm-hmm. So if I pick another anomaly, it is essentially a gamble if I get a good anomaly or not.
That makes sense.
In terms of reinforcements, I don't want this. I want something that makes me better. Like imagine if I get a Elise, right? I already have a Elise. Mm-hmm. It feels kind of bad to get a 2-star Elise. It kind of makes my board stronger. But like, if I don't get this augment, I will find 1 Elise. If I do get this augment, I will find 3 Elises. But I only care about 2 Elise. Does that make sense? I only need 2 more Elise for Elise 2.
I guess where my mind goes is if you get the Elise and you buy and she's instantly 2-star, just sell the one on your board.
Yeah.
And put your 2-star in place of that.
But if I get a Elise without this one, I would have 2 Elises at that point. And then I can just roll a little bit more and get my 3rd Elise.
But if she is the next 4-cost you buy, she'll instantly be 2-star, right?
Yes, but that makes my board a little stronger, but it doesn't make me as strong as what I think a Gold Mockman would do. If I don't have any 4-stars on my board, I would absolutely take reinforcement, right? It would immediately give me a really strong front line, or it will give me a really strong back line immediately. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I have multiple 4-stars already, so the value of reinforcement goes down dramatically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, so let's see what I do. I decide that I don't want that, and I don't want reinforcement. And eventually I took... Okay, yeah. I took, what's it called? It's just the rod one, Crown's Will, which gives me a rod. And the reason why I took this is because I have 2 carries in the back, both of whom did not have complete items yet.
Yeah.
So first, it gives me a rod, which allows me to create more items for my carry. If you look at my board, I actually don't have that many items. I only have 1 frontline item, and I have a bunch of backline items. Which means I just want more items for all my carries as well as my tanks. So Crown's Will gives me more items, allowing me to have a 3 item Malzahar and a 2 item Heimerdinger. And it also gives more ability power, which is also quite helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we look here, I finally lost. This is one of the reroll comps, new reroll comps that is quite strong.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do this Zyra reroll, and it seems like they have a 3-star Lux as well. So 3-star Zyra, 3-star Lux.
And 3-star Darius. 3-star Darius is actually the most important part because
I didn't see him.
Yeah, he protects the rest of the mages, the sorcerers. So again, here I mess up. One thing that I could do better, can you see it? Let's wait until it comes back to my board, and I'll give you a second to look for it. What did I do wrong here?
I guess the carry items could be a bit better placed.
The carry items are actually fine. Like, I just want mouse. I guess, yeah, they could technically be a little better placed, but just with the way that I got them.
I mean, you could level up and put Morgana in to have a 2-cost Scion.
Yeah, I mean, next level. Currently, I can't afford that. Right?
I guess, yeah, you need 46 more, and you're at 42.
Yeah.
So.
But there was something that I could have done. What are your thoughts?
I mean, Aurelia to added Sentinel, potentially.
No, so right now I have Rel in, which gives me 4 Visionary. But Morgana is also a Visionary, which means...
so you could have gotten Vex, I guess, and you would have 6 Visionary.
No, you can put Morgana instead of Rel, and that will give me 4 Visionary and 4 Black Rose at the same time.
That's true, because you're not using Conqueror or Sentinel at this moment, actually, so...
Yeah.
So Morgana would have been a better addition in there.
That's correct. So that's my mistake here.
Okay, yeah.
So I notice it and I put her in.
Okay.
But at this point, it doesn't matter as much because I have enough gold to level. And I decide to just put in... Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
LeBlanc.
Yeah, I was super lucky here.
That's very lucky. So he immediately went up to 5 cost.
Yeah.
Well, not 5.
5 Black Roses.
5 Black Roses, so a 3-cost Scion.
So this is very close to what the endgame board is for Black Rose Heimerdinger. The only thing that I'm missing is that Garen. The Garen that I'm trying to pick up vigorously right now. That Garen gives me Watcher as well as Emissary and kind of completes my comp.
Yeah, I'm assuming... Yeah, I guess, yeah, you took the Darius out, so...
So now I have the
There you
Garen
go.
and I can complete the comp.
Great.
So again, the really nice thing about going long is that I have a 2-star Malzahar during an anomaly, which means I can put an anomaly on Malzahar. So here I get Kill Streak, which works really well with Visionary, because Visionary allows me to get more mana, and Kill Streak gives me mana, and that stacks together very, very well. So here I put the items on Garen. Remember I said like if you put stuff on Garen, Garen will also benefit the characters to the left and right of him. Garen is also just a very good tank and fits really well here. And I agree. You said that my item placements could be better. They could. I absolutely agree. I just initially had the items on Malzahar, and now I have some items on Heimerdinger. I could have removed them and fixed it, but currently I feel like I'm strong enough to win streak. I think if I was optimizing, I would switch it. I would give blue buff and Nashers and Jewel Gauntlet to my Malzahar, and I think that would be the strongest combo, actually.
I guess now, especially because he has that mana anomaly.
Yeah.
Blue buff would be really nice on him.
Yeah, blue buff will be fine. It's, again, not optimal. He would definitely prefer a Shoujin's, but it is a mana item, so it is something that does benefit him. Yeah.
Oh, the nail biter.
A little bit of a nail biter, yeah. So here I pick up a LeBlanc as well. That's also the reason why I haven't removed items yet, because I am at a point where I could find a LeBlanc 2. And in my opinion, if I do find a LeBlanc 2, I would rather itemize Malzahar and LeBlanc rather than Malzahar and Heimerdinger. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, 2-star 5 costs versus 2-star 4 cost.
Well, here's the thing though. LeBlanc doesn't benefit from Visionary. You know? But do you know why I would rather like itemize the LeBlanc rather than the Heimerdinger, assuming it's 2-star?
Well, I guess like you said, she doesn't have the Visionary benefit. So...
Well, that's a negative, right? If you don't have the Visionary benefit.
Well, that's the point. It's that she doesn't have that benefit, so she would benefit from having items on her.
So first of all, I re-roll the Infinity Edge because it's not optimal.
Yeah, but you get a second Sunfire, which isn't the best either.
Yeah. So here I decided to put the blue buff on Malzahar because I just want as much mana as possible. So I'm picking a more... Heimers with the off chance of potentially getting a Heimer 3. It's unlikely, but I might as well right now. So here it was a very close loss. Basically, if I survived for one more second, I would have won there. So I get a Nunu 2 as well as a second Elise, which are all very good. And then I get a LeBlanc 2. This is what I was saying. If I get a LeBlanc 2, I will want to start itemizing her. And the reason why I want to itemize the LeBlanc is because of how her spell works. So when she casts, she sends out a chain that chains people around the board. And then afterwards, she auto attacks 3 times.
Yeah.
And those 3 times do a lot of damage. And when she is auto attacking, she does not gain mana, which means you want her to get done with her auto attacks as quickly as possible. So attack speed is actually extremely good on her. So if we look at the items that I have multiple attack speed items, which would be really, really good on her, as I told you. So because of that, my items are better for LeBlanc, and therefore I am okay with itemizing her.
Makes sense.
The other thing...
Nice.
Yeah, the other thing that I did here is I just put a random bow on the LeBlanc. What are your thoughts there about just putting a bow on LeBlanc?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this next carousel is when you start having full items rather than components anymore.
That's correct, yes.
So, I mean, I think it's just for the sake of making her spell faster, is it?
Yeah, but what does a bow prevent me from doing?
I mean, you won't be able to probably make a full item out of that now.
That's correct. But let's look at what I'm going to take off of Carousel, right? It's very likely that I take a tanky item off of Carousel.
That's true.
For my Garen, in which case she won't have a second item. And then if I don't get a tanky item, I will get something for my LeBlanc. And then she would have 2.5 items. And I don't get a third item until the end of this stage, was 5-7, right? And at 5-7, if I do get an attack item, I can then get a remover as well, because you get a remover at the end of every single stage, right?
Yeah.
So here I look at what I want to pick. I decide that I want to go with the LeBlanc. There was also a Black Rose emblem, but here I think the main thing that I care about is just being tankier. You can probably argue that I could have taken out the Cassiopeia if I got a Black Rose emblem. But right now, I think I just wanted to make sure my primary tank, which is my Garen, is as tanky as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I messed up a little bit as well. I think I rolled 3 times, which is 6 gold. It's not really good because if you look at my team, everything is 2-star except for the Cassiopeia, who is just there for the Black Rose trade, and Morgana, who is a 1 cost. So by upgrading them, it doesn't really benefit me. So I should have just saved all of my gold and level up to level 10 as quickly as I could.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the items that I have is starting to bite me a little bit. They're not the best items, and because of that, I am starting to lose in comparison to people with more optimized items.
Yeah.
But, you know, these are kind of the negative side effects of playing Recombobulator and going long.
Uh-huh.
I am in the top 4 now, so I'm guaranteed to go up in LP.
Okay.
And I think I can finish probably in the top 3, maybe in the top 2, just looking at my opponent's health. So here I see my opponent has a Caitlyn. So my goal right now is to put the Elise on the side with the Caitlyn so that she will stun the Caitlyn. And that's exactly what she did. She stunned the Caitlyn, which actually allows me to win, I believe. Let's see how this plays out. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember this one.
Oh, it was like just barely winning.
Yeah. My cast, I think one was like 5 HP. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, going long does fall off near the late game. Do you know why?
So, I mean, for one thing, you had mentioned the items aren't necessarily the best.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So if you look at the other prismatic augments, there's ones that give you really strong artifacts. There's other ones that just makes your team extremely tanky. There's ones that make your team just a lot stronger than what they were before, okay? So if you compare those with going long loses value after a certain point, right?
yeah.
Because before I was winning because I was 2 levels ahead of everyone else. But now that's no longer the case. That person
Yeah.
just leveled up to level 9. I'm at level 10, but I'm only 1 level ahead of them.
Yeah.
Whereas they can have something that makes them a lot stronger. So for example, look at his prismatic augment. This one gives him an artifact every 9 rounds, okay? So that means he has 3 artifacts, which are very, very strong. And I have an extra level.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm starting to fall off because he has caught up to me in level, and now his prismatic augment is better than mine.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have stuff that will allow you to get first place, and sometimes you will have stuff that gets you a top 4. In this case, with going long, at least with people who are better, I would say it's a top 4 trait. You will get top 4 if you play it correctly. But I don't think it is a top 1 trade. If you're playing in gold, silver, bronze, I do think this is possibly a top 1 trade just because of how strong it makes you relative to everyone else for a large portion of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we can kind of watch as I go, but you can tell that I'm starting to lose steam just based on the difference in prismatic augments. Yeah. So at this point, I lost the game, but overall, I think this was a good showcase of what playing going long looks like. Okay, it's not a very common trait, but I do think it is one worth exploring if you do have a very strong board at the start of the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you guys learned something about going long and playing like an absolute psychopath. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts for things that I could have done better. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.